Success Insight shares the stories of the people with passion and drive who make things happen in the world. Here's your host, Howard Fox.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Success Insight podcast. Our guest today is Patricia Love. Patricia is a women's empowerment coach, and she is the author of Seen and Unheard, A Little Girl's Journey from Silence to Empowerment. Patricia has been on our podcast. We are up to episode number 6 today that we're really kind of unpacking Patricia's journey and really what is in the book, Seen and Unheard, and really kind of dive into this journey, but also how Patricia has used this work to help other women become seen and heard. In Seen and Unheard, Patricia is sharing how she successfully navigated a life of mental abandonment, abuse, and trauma, and ultimately found her power and worth in order to create a new story. Patricia, welcome back to another episode of the Success Insight podcast.
Howard, it is awesome to be here today. I'm excited, I'm thrilled, and I'm just thrilled that you keep asking me to come back. Number 6, this is rocking.
You know, a guy could get used to this. I get to have a wonderful woman, great conversation. And, hey, if we get to change some lives out there, or at least put, someone on a new direction, a new footing, help them make new choices, then as coaches, you and I have shown up and done our best.
Absolutely. And it's worth it. And I always hope that somebody can get a little golden nugget out of one of these podcasts, because it can be life-changing if you listen and do a few things. And it's amazing. I know a lot of little things changed my life.
Of course. If you take the time and you just slow down.
Pause.
Pausing is good. This has been a good day for me to remember, Howard, you got to pause.
That's right.
For our listeners, we just don't go right into this podcast. We actually have a little chat. How are you doing? What's going on? Et cetera, et cetera. So what's in store for us today?
Well, it's actually one of my favorite conversations.
Okay.
And it's actually, I'm going to use the word mindset, but actually I like to change it up and saying our thoughts. I like to talk about how our thoughts affect us negatively and positively.
Oh, yeah.
I'm talking about the thoughts that we think about all day long, because thoughts are in us. They're around us every minute. Our mind is going 1,000,000 miles an hour, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have good thoughts and bad thoughts and crazy thoughts and happy thoughts. And these thoughts rule our lives. They rule our mind. So it's important to kind of gather ourselves and put those thoughts into a better place that helps move us forward. And that's why I love the mind, basically, because the mind is so intricate and it can do so many things, and it can actually push us into the right direction where we need to go, especially if you've had negative things going on in your life, or tragedies, or just relationship issues, or anything. Your mindset can actually change your life.
I really think that this is profound work. The idea of how we can become more aware of our thoughts and what our mind is doing. Because it's, as you said, it's working continuously no matter what we're doing. We wake up in the morning, coffee, water on our face, go to work, et cetera, pick up the kids, go to soccer practice, go to grocery stores. And while we're doing these things, some of it becomes memory, or because we're just so used to doing it. But
it's routine.
Routines.
Yeah.
But the thoughts are still going on. And unless we kind of slow down and pause. There's that P word.
Get you on that pause. That's right.
There's that P word again. Unless we slow down and pause and think about what's happening, how do I feel?
That's exactly right. Because and I forget who it actually said this quote, is what we think about is what we bring about.
Yes. I think what might have been me during our last episode, but I was on a conference with WBEC's World Business Executive Coaching Conference. So every year they bring 30, 40 coaches together, and it's a way to get your continuing coaching education. But there was one individual, that was his presentation. It was about what you think about, you bring about. And it is, as you're saying, powering up your thoughts, the mindset, but it's
It's focusing. It's what you focus on is what you will receive, basically.
Yeah.
And
right.
it's so important. And it's funny because, we've been doing these podcasts and we've talked about awareness and acknowledgement, but there's a theme here that even with our thoughts, we have to start pausing and being aware of our thoughts and what we're thinking every day. Because when we can actually sit, and I love the word again, I'm going to say pause because I'm really a big advocate for that word, pausing and listening to what you're saying, you're going to start seeing that maybe you don't like everything you're thinking or what you're even saying. But until you become aware of it and acknowledge it, you can't change it. So that's what it's so important to really think about what you're saying, because so many people are like, they keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. What happens? They get the same result over and over. That's where you have to start changing your, not only your behaviors, but your thought patterns. And, it's not just affirmations. Everybody thinks it's just affirmations. If I do an affirmation, yes, affirmations help. That actually is more of a exercise to get you into the awareness of what you're thinking and put you in more of a positive place.
So in your journey, when did you become aware of the importance of pausing? And when did you create this connection to the pause and what you're thinking?
Well, actually, it's interesting. As far as the thinking part, I actually started on that when I was like 13 years of age. Unfortunately, when you're young and you're growing, you don't always put things together. You sometimes, you'll think about one and not the other. But the pausing actually came when that, I won't say dreadful day, because now I think it was a gifted day, to be honest, was when everything was falling apart. And I realized I needed to make a change. And that was only 13 years ago when I was broke. I mean, literally broke. I was in debt, like almost 150 grand. I didn't know if I was going to have a roof over my head. Everything was happening. Relationships were falling apart. So I had to figure out what was I continually doing that I was still getting all the same results. And I came to the point that I had to start acknowledging and being aware of my thoughts and what I was doing so I could possibly change those. And it's changing your thoughts changes your behaviors. Mm-hmm. So that's, like I said, it didn't all connect up. I wish it had connected up a little earlier, but it didn't. But now when I even get to in a flurry, you might say, because everybody's mind gets into a flurry. And I called it before a hamster wheel. But it's so busy with multitasking and doing many things that you forget to listen to what you're thinking. So maybe if you just stop and you pause, you actually can say, wait a minute, I'm thinking the same thing over and over again. Maybe if I change this, then I might get a different result.
I would even put a step before change is, how is this thought serving me?
Right.
Is this moving me forward? That includes happiness, gratefulness,
right.
humility, love.
Yeah, because there's some thoughts that are great for us.
Yes.
There's some thoughts that bring joy. There's this one quote here by Buddha, and I had to write it down because I can't remember everything, right? It says, we are shaped by our thoughts. We become what we think. When our mind is pure, joy follows like a shadow that never leaves. When we start to have those pure, joyful thoughts or more positive thoughts that give positive results, then it follows you. It continues to follow you like a shadow, a good shadow. It's so important to really be mindful of what you're thinking, because so many people don't realize that they're extremely negative. And that's where kind of like the fixed mindset comes in and the growth mindset comes in, right. Because a fixed mindset is basically that person that says, you're stuck in your old ways type of thing. You don't want to change. You don't want to change how you do something because that might be too hard. That's a fixed mindset, where a growth mindset is going to be that one. Like if you make a mistake, wait a minute, I made a mistake. How can I learn from this mistake? How can I change to make something better? It's interesting because people kind of say, well, fixed mindset, growth mindset. A lot of people are actually in the middle. They're actually in the middle. They're not all one or all the other, but that's where the awareness of your thoughts need to come in. Where am I in this area of my mindset? Do I do a 50% growth and then I'm stuck in my ways and other things? You know if you're being stubborn or not. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do it this way. I've done it this way all the time. Where it may be a great way to just think about it and maybe change it or tweak it just a little bit. That's where the growth comes in. Without growth, we don't live. We have to continue to grow. So I encourage people listening to this to really stop and pause and think about what they're thinking and think first off, do I have more of a growth mindset or am I in a more of a fixed and stuck in my way type of mindset? Because you got to start somewhere.
Of course. Now, in your book, Seen and Unheard, are you providing your readers a kind of a stepping stone to get on that part of the journey, is to create the growth mindset and move away from the fixed?
Yes. And actually what I'm trying to do within the book is really to get people to reflect, because that and be aware. And because nobody can tell somebody you must do something this way or you must change your thoughts to this way. But when you start to think about your own stories or how did I get here and reflecting on them and pausing and taking a moment, that's when the change begins. You have to stop and be aware of your own thoughts. So I really try to push a reflection. And then at the end, I also have some ideas and thoughts of how to do things. But it really is reflecting on your own life, because my story is going to be slightly different than everybody else's story. But I think people will resonate with some of them.
Everybody's story is different. And
exactly.
Again, everybody's going to take something different away from the book, working with you.
Exactly.
Patricia, if our listeners would like to learn more about you and your work, where are the best places for them to go?
Well, the main place is patricialove.com. That's the best place. You can contact me there. And I also do a free discovery call. So if somebody wants to chat with me for 30 minutes or 45 minutes, I'm more than open to do that. Or go to Facebook, Patricia Love, the Rah Rah Coach. And Instagram is Coach Patricia Love. I'm an open book and love to talk to people.
That's fantastic. We'll definitely provide the backlinks to patricialove.com and to your Facebook and Instagram accounts. And we'll have a link back to Amazon if folks can pick up a copy of Seen and Unheard. We are on episode 6. That's hard to believe. We've already have 6 episodes in. I know we've got a couple more that we are planning. And most definitely, I'm very grateful that you are have had an open mindset to join me on this podcasting journey. But also, I think it is important from my perspective to share with my audience that, there's folks out there like you who are looking to make a difference in people's lives. And, you're using the lessons you obtained, in the journey you've taken. And this is an example today of powering up your thoughts and, looking at mindset a little bit more attentively and a little bit differently.
Exactly. Just learning, just like I'm learning here with you today. And I'm very happy to have that opportunity to do that. So I'm honored to be here, Howard.
Fantastic. All right, folks, we've just been chatting with Patricia Love, the Women's Empowerment Coach. And again, Patricia is the author of Seen and Unheard, A Little Girl's Journey from Silence to Empowerment. Today's episode, we talked a lot about how our thoughts affect us, and really another episode filled with insights and wisdom and really opportunities for you to make the change in life that you want, because as we all know, what you think about, you bring about. So, folks, we hope, again, you enjoyed this podcast. You can visit us on successinsightpodcast.com. We'd love to get your comments. You can also find us on Facebook and on LinkedIn on our Success Insight podcast pages. We are on the major podcasting platforms, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Spotify. And really, as far as Spotify goes, we're actually going to be creating a playlist of all of the, let's just call it the health and wellness playlist, where we will include all of the episodes that we are recording with Patricia. So that's going to be in some ways, your one-stop shop just to get health and wellness insights, and sure you'll enjoy that. We're also on Pandora, iHeartRadio, and you can also find us on YouTube as well. Okay, folks, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, go out there, have a phenomenal day. Take care of yourselves, take care of your family. Hey, wear that mask, continue to practice social distancing, and we're going to see you on our next episode, we hope, on the Success Insight Podcast. Take care now.
Success Insight is a production of Fox Coaching and First Story Strategies. Find us online, successinsightpodcast.com.